Yo, what's up, Scott?
Man, how you doing, Conan? How's it going?
Just chilling, just chilling.
I hear
What's
ya.
up, Scott? How you doing, man?
Man, how you been, brother?
Very good, been good. Out here in Vegas right now.
Let me ask you, Scott. There's something that I didn't even I didn't even know this till I was reading your Wikipedia. Is it true that you were a bodyguard for Prince?
Yeah, but I can't really talk about it because you signed so many confidentiality and.
All right. Well, I don't
like
need anything that will get you in trouble, but give me some Prince story because I'm a humongous Prince fan.
Oh well, hell, I mean, I worked for him for 9 months, and he was the coolest dude, man. I mean, I didn't really interact with him a lot. I wasn't his living bodyguard or anything, but I got to work the Purple Rain tour, and I had a partner. His name was Huck. He's a big black dude, and he worked in twos, bodyguard. So, like 3 sets would go with Prince when he would leave the building, or we just took care of him, and you took care of everything going on. Well, that night I didn't have no responsibilities. We were going out.
Right.
So me and Huck were showering up and getting ready to go out. And Huck asked me, he said, Scotty, he says, if somebody's going to shoot Prince, he said, what would you do? Would you take the bullet for him? I said, fuck. I said, I grabbed him by the hair, hold him. I used him as a shield. The kid were laughing. He said, me too, man. I ain't taking the bullet for that son of a bitch. So they both got fired.
Go figure.
I mean, they were so touchy about him. And when I meet these, I was in a lawyer's office for 6 hours after just signing all these papers, and they said, you should have a lawyer present. I said, I just got recruited for a job by his head bodyguard, and I had, as a young guy, it was kind of, overwhelming. But later on in interviews in Minneapolis and stuff, when I would talk about it, I got contacted by his lawyers. And they said, you're kind of pushing at some of these, and I'm going, whoa, shit. So
really?
Yeah, and and
you're not burying him or nothing. You just telling stories, right?
Well, a little bit, but you can't tell like what happened when you're within his presence, and these secrets. Like he was a secretive guy. I mean, he was very. It was kind of sad.
The one thing that he was that I think everybody knows, he was very, very, very controlling. But what I was envisioning is, I'm thinking about you. You probably grew up listening to, I'm not assuming, like classic rock and roll and shit like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what are you thinking when you're watching this guy up on stage that you're not sure what his sexuality is? There's a lot of women in the audience, a lot of freaks. I mean, what was that whole thing like?
Well, he was, he I knew that he had nothing but women on his mind, for crying out loud.
Right.
I mean, they were flying in all the time.
Right.
And, so yeah, that's, but yeah, he was a super cool guy. I remember we went to a barbecue joint one time in Philadelphia, and, his entourage and people, and I was working there, and I was on, I was signed that night, and we're in this barbecue joint, and there's 18, 20 people there, but it seats 450 people, and the kitchen's just going nuts. They're just cooking, and food's flying, and I'm going, man, these guys putting a spread together for us. And what he did was, for each seat at that restaurant, he had 4 meals made, and had these vans taken to the homeless shelter. And he never told them, the homeless shelters where they're coming from or nothing. He just did it. Yeah. And that was cool as hell. I thought that was...
This was the most fascinating thing I found out about Prince after he passed, is that he was like one of the most... People said he would do stuff like that a lot. He was one of the most charitable people you've ever met. And because he was a Jehovah's Witness, he was never allowed to tell anybody about his charitable contributions. Like, he's not allowed to talk about how, and that it's like could you think about that quality if people actually had that today, where you just want to give, you just give, you're charitable, and you don't want any credit for it. You know what? You just do it just for the sake, because you're a charitable person. That to me, what I thought was like, wow, he was really a great guy. If you think about it in that context, Yeah,
he I mean, but the short period of time I was around him, he was as cool as, sometimes in situations where it was touching, a little bit, it's hard to be around a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? We're just kind of opposite. I mean, he went to the high school right next to mine, the next district over.
Right.
I knew who he was in school. We're the same age. And, they used to bring the weights on the road, for the bodyguards to train. And he'd bring a NBA authentic basketball hoop. And we played basketball. And I blocked the shot one time, and everybody went, "What are you doing?"
Oh, wait a minute, time out. Hey, wait, you just screwed up the NDA. He never got a shot block, supposedly, the story, right?
He even looked at me like, man, but I kind of figured that out quick. But he would come and watch me bench. He loved to watch, I would bench, I was way up in the 600s, and he thought that was cool, and, we'd be jacking it up, and it was kind of a little bit like Japanese, on the road when we're wrestling, we bring the weights with us and everything. But yeah, he was a cool dude, man. And I ain't got any negative stories about Prince at all. I mean, he was, it was a sad ending, but there's nothing negative about that man at all.
Super sad.